All right. So, thank you all for coming and joining us this afternoon. I know it's a busy Saturday afternoon for all. So, caring for the speaking voice is also about restoring balance to the speaking voice and to also begin in a balanced place. So we use vocal warm-ups and cool-down exercises that are essential for developing a healthy vocal function. And there's no debate that even with athletics or dancers that they have to warm up or cool down to prepare and to improve their performance skills and to prevent their injuries. Well, teachers, preachers, and motivational speakers are vocal athletes as well. They're speaking athletes, as well as needing those warm ups and vocal cool downs for their own endurance and to prevent injury as well. So, the injury prevention aspects of vocal exercises, breathing exercises, relaxation exercises are so essential to what we need to maintain as speakers, and to also maintain health and return balance to the laryngeal muscles, especially after using your voice in a projecting way within the church or classroom or in presentation. So, a lot of us sometimes feel this way, having to project over a group of people, be it in a church service or a classroom, or in a presentation if you're giving a speech somewhere. And it can be a little bit overwhelming, I think, vocally, because we want to be heard. And most of the time, we're wanting to hear ourselves over it. So the use of a mic is always the best option, and to not feel like you have to yell over that the speakers will do the work and the mic will do the work for you. So, when preachers and teachers speak, they are often trying to motivate their listeners, and by doing so, they are in a more hyperfunctional laryngeal state, with their larynx being a little bit higher sometimes than it would normally be in a neutral speech place. So, they engage in a more athletic use of various parts of their vocal mechanism. There's higher airflow, stronger subglottic air pressure, that they are using, and they may not even be aware that they're using to project their voices or to project a point. They give a lot of more movement, greater movement in the larynx, which increases the blood flow into the vocal folds and increases heart rate and blood pressure. So the speaker has to stretch their voice in the opposite direction and use a lighter mechanism and some of these semi-occluded vocal exercises, which I'm going to introduce to you, to help restore that balance, but also to get them started in a more balanced place to begin with so that they're not trying to overcompensate. So the overarching goal is to basically reduce that heart and breathing rates after motivational speaking, and gradually cool down the body to restore the balance. And you have to think of yourselves, if you're teachers and preachers, that you are a speaking athlete. We talk about the singing voice athletes, the vocal athletes, but you're speaking every day in the classroom, or every weekend, or midweek in praise and worship. So there's a lot to be done to maintain vocal health and not have all the so-called laryngitis or vocal issues that may come up with overuse of the voice and trying to project your voice in a way that may not be healthy. So, speaker warm-ups and cool downs are essential. They don't take very long. We're looking at like 3 to 5 minutes of vocal fold focus with a massage and stretch focus, mainly in the neck and laryngeal self-massage. Most of us do this when we're feeling a little bit of muscle pain. We already give ourselves a little bit of a massage. So those things will be essential to helping cool down, but also to warm up. Tongue stretches before you speak, Some people even do tongue twisters before they speak, just to get the articulators moving. And this should take maybe 5 to 10 minutes. So that's not a lot of your time, but it's essential for you to put in the effort to get started that way and also to end that way. And not skip these steps. So what I have here are some semi-occluded vocal tract exercises that we call SOVT exercises, and they include straw phonation and some lip and tongue trills. And I use a straw that is actually from IKEA, when I was able to go down to IKEA and grab some. And this is about the size of 5 millimeter straw that will add a little bit more resistance and get our vocal sound projecting a little bit more frontal than further back. So with this exercise, we'll start actually with the lip trill, because I have that written up here. I'm looking at my screen now. We'll start with the lip trill, and basically on a 5-note scale, nice lip buzz. And it could be wherever you feel comfortable. And Dr. Robert Sadeloff talks about doing this before you even speak in the morning. So it's one of the first things that you do when you get up, before you go and brush your teeth. Do some lip trills for 2 or 3 minutes. So I'm going to start on middle C. And you can do this from where you are with me as I just go through them. We're not going to go all the way, as if I were warming you up, but just kind of give you an idea of what these exercises are. So, now some people have a hard time with lip buzzes like this and lip trills. If your lips naturally go downwards, and mine do, then you take your fingers, 2 fingers, and just right below and above the jawline, right below the lips, right about here, and press up a little bit. Those lips should nicely trill for you. Good. So you can also do a little bit longer trill and slide, if you will. And these are all in slides. Try not to do it from, but make sure it's a nice slide up and down. But you can also do, or just an octave. So those are the lip trills. Tongue trills are the same thing. I'm not sure if, because I've been talking, let me take a little bit of a drink here. See if I can get my tongue going with this. But the tongue would be the same thing. Up and down the scale, okay? And do it where you feel that it works nice and easy and more comfortable in your voice. It's not about how high you're doing it or how low you're doing it. It's how nice and easy you are making that happen, okay? Nice and easy and comfortable. So with the straw, we're going to do the same thing. It's a 5-note scale. And also doing a slide. The first letter A talks about slide to the highest note to the lowest pitch. So that would be... So there was a little bit of a break in my voice there, if you notice. So I'm going to try this again. May have been that it was a little bit too far back. So that was a lot better. So we find little things that happen in our voice. If there's any muscle tension going on, it may show up in these exercises. Another exercise with the straw. Again, we're trying to keep that frontal focus. If you use the straw and go, ooh, that's way back here. And if you notice when I start speaking, my voice is way back here, that's going to be a little bit fatiguing on the folds, and you'll probably end up with some laryngitis or major fatigue after preaching in a place like that or talking in a place like that. So we want to make sure that that voice is nice and frontal. So, and then talking right where you had that nice buzz, or even with the, okay, I'm right here. It's a, okay, I'm back here. Hopefully you can hear the difference there. So the sending slides on the 5 note scale would be just basically the same. Or you can also do it, if you're cooling down, from a top note down. And then we have the 1-8-5-3, which I also did in the lip trill. And if you notice, I'm trying to keep it as frontal as possible and not go. And there you would notice that I went front, back, front. So the idea is to keep it a little bit more frontal. And let's go on to the next one. So gentle fry, this is getting us back to mode 0, as we call it in voice science, is just relaxing everything in the voice. It's not about a hard fry, because a hard fry can also cause vocal injury. So we do not want that. We want something nice and light. Just to get back to baseline. So adding a little bit of fry for about 5 seconds, and nothing with a big glottal onset. Huyu, this was given to me when I was going through surgery after it was post-surgical cervical disc surgery, and starts on, for the higher voices, up C5 on Huyu. Without any glottal onset, making sure that that air is flowing. As Shonda talked about the transglottal airflow, that amount of air that's going and passing through the vocal folds is nice and even, so that we do not have any stop of that air. And go down. It has a nice little bit of a massage aspect with the tongue on the huyu, huyu, huyu. So this is a good exercise to open up and lighten up your voice. And then, of course, you can also do some 5-note slides and on oohs. Ooh vowel is a nice vowel for many people. Some people prefer an E vowel. It would be coming from the top, nice and floaty. And again, it would be done in your own range, but using a little bit more of that lighter mechanism, balancing out the voice. 5-note scales on ooh, sustaining the ah, so it would be ooh, ah, and then adding a little bit of vibrato. This one I got from Dr. Linda Carroll, who works with a lot of injured voices and rehabs them. So, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. And then the gaila helps with loosening up the tongue, and it's isolating the tongue. And again, we're doing it in a very small range and just where you feel comfortable. And this is isolating the back of the tongue, the posterior, and the anterior part of the tongue, the forward part of the tongue. So it's gaila, gaila. Gaila, 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 gaila. This is probably better for a warm-up exercise, but I've had clients that have used it for cool downs as well. So the other thing that we need to look at is neck stretches, and I think we all have our own ways of stretching our necks, but we cannot leave these things out. And also making sure that we get the right amount of time in stretching. And the American College of Sports Medicine recommends usually 60 seconds for each stretch, because about around 45 seconds is when you start getting that stretch. Okay, so here are just some photos of some of the stretches that you can do. This stretch here has you looking off to the right with your left shoulder extending backwards so that you get a nice stretch in the sternocleidomastoid muscle, as well as the scalene muscles and the trapezius muscle. Very important things. And of course, these stretches we know. So all these areas we need to stretch out. And again, the laryngeal massage, I talked a little bit about that before. The idea is also to take the larynx and jiggle it a little bit from side to side. We're not wanting to squeeze and hurt yourself, but we do want to make sure that these muscles around, and you can massage them in a circular motion and also in that needly motion on both sides, and really get into that scalene muscle, which those scalene muscles are very tense. All right, we could get into a lot of these stretches. Masseter stretch or massage right here between, when we're talking a lot, this muscle between the upper and lower jaw, called the masseter muscle, that is responsible for opening and closing, especially closing, will get very tense. So we want to make sure that we massage that area as well before we speak and then after we speak, okay, so that we can get back to neutral base speaking place. And there's some of the laryngeal massage, tongue massage underneath, very important. All of these little cool down and warm up suggestions for stretching, and also, the vocalises that I gave you, the SOVTs, are not meant to be doing all of them. It would take you forever. So you pick and choose which ones you think you might need to help return balance, or to even get you to a balanced place before, okay? Tongue stretches, we have so many. Let me go to tongue exercises here. These are circles tracking the inside of your mouth, just clockwise. And then also tongue flattening, so you're sticking it out flat and then bringing the sides together. And then tongue protrusion, sticking it out, poking it out as far as possible. We've done that before, all of us. And then tongue tuck. Okay, so these are all good exercises to do. Also, doing a round robin clockwise, touching your nose and chin, any kind of those wagging back and forth, just to stretch the tongue. And then also doing tongue twisters, a lot of speakers have found useful. All right, so in closing, vocal fold focus for speaker cool downs and warm-ups, and then a massage focus. Okay, I appreciate the time today. I hope I didn't take too much time there. And I hope it was helpful.
That was great. Thank you so much.